Chapter 18, Meanwhile. Part 2. Meanwhile. I swear, you three come here just to give me more work to do, Spike said with as much responsible authority as he could muster. Which, in reality, wasn't much since the three fillies he was attempting to scold were about as old as he was. We're sorry, Spike. Scootaloo, Sweetie Belle, and Apple Bloom apologized in unison. Only Apple Bloom had the self-consciousness to look guilty at the mess that was now scattered around the library. She was also the only one who offered to ever help clean up. Do you need any help? No, girls, I think I can handle this myself. It's past your bedtimes, so you three should head home, Spike said with a sigh, having no wish to repeat the Cutie Mark Crusaders librarian's incident. Thanks for stopping by. The three fillies zoomed out of the library after saying their goodbyes, leaving Spike with the piles of books that they had been plowing through. History of Map Making and Cartography in Equestria. Spike read the title of the first book he saw, and he quickly realized that all of the books were similar in nature. I wonder what it was this week? Explorers? Cartographers? Probably something to do with Daring Do. The week prior, the three Cutie Mark Crusaders had spent the afternoon in the library to get adventuring cutie marks, though Sweetie Belle insisted it was archaeology. How they intended to do this was by reading every Daring Do book available, and leave them strewn about the library as though they intended to set up a literature scavenger hunt for Spike. The week prior to that they decided they wanted to be authors and were determined to read every book in the library to find out the best ways to write, until they gave up and got started on the Daring Do books. They know something's wrong with Twilight. I doubt they know what, but they know something. Spike sighed again as he began to gather up the scattered literature for sorting and replacement on the shelves, but the sigh was a content one. All the girls are trying to help in their own ways. After the chaotic day where Twilight disappeared and the few tumultuous days afterward, Spike had fallen into a routine. With the librarian gone, it fell to him to keep the library in the condition that Twilight left it. 1 day turned into 2. 2 turned into 3. 3 days turned into a week, and still no sign of Twilight, but Spike kept things going as well as he could. After the first week, the other elements began to visit the library on a regular basis. Rainbow Dash would spend an entire afternoon sprawled out somewhere while giving a running commentary on the adventures of Daring Do, and Spike would often sit and listen when work permitted a break. Fluttershy visited almost daily to check on Owlicious and to have a cup of tea with Spike. Applejack and Pinkie Pie would also visit to drop off baked goods and snacks for him as well as chat about their respective businesses. And Rarity, his sweet Rarity, had insisted on taking him out on one of the weekend days to try out a new series of clothes she was developing. Spike felt guilty that he didn't pay more attention to all the fashion and tailoring terms and trends she talked about, but it was so hard to concentrate on anything but basking in her presence. The one time he asked why he was being used as a model, after strenuously asserting that it was no problem, Rarity had simply replied, "Pinkie Pie said clothes with your body type would be in high demand soon, and we all know what to do when Pinkie dear gets a feeling. They think I'll be lonely without Twilight," Spike thought absently as he stacked the books and began to lug them over to the shelves. They're right. I don't know if I've ever been away from Twilight so long. The girls are amazing for going out of their way to visit and spend time with me, but Twilight doesn't have any pony wherever she is. I hope she's all right. The books were lifted one by one to their appropriate slots on the shelf. Every move was careful and precise. Everything had to be perfect if Twilight came back. When she comes back. Spike corrected himself, and he felt a little bit horrified that he would ever consider the possibility that he would never see her again. The little librarian was saved from further thoughts haunting him by a sudden knock at the door. "Sorry, we're closed for the night," Spike yelled, and he hoped whoever was knocking heard. Apparently they didn't, because the knocking continued to hammer. Jeepers, what's so important this late? Spike descended the ladder and reached for the doorknob to see just who was hammering on the door. Unfortunately for Spike, his timing was terrible, and the door flew open to smash the poor dragon into the wall. Spike! Spike! I had an amazing idea! The intruder shouted, and he knew immediately who the intruder was. Pinkie Pie! Spike tried not to growl as he slid the door closed and gave the pink earth pony a flat stare. You know it's past business hours, right? Can't your amazing idea wait? No, it can't, came the immediate response. Seriously, Pinkie? Come ba, Spike started to say, but was interrupted when a red frosted cupcake was jammed into his mouth. Sweet Celestia, did she use crushed inferno rubies in the frosting? And with her special sauce, too? It's like a party in my mouth, and everyone is on fire. Hush now, Spiky. Pinkie Pie has to share her amazing idea. She smiled widely before turning away to begin her story. So I was thinking about Twilight and how lonely she might be. After all, we're her friends and we're not with her. Not to assume that Twilight can't make friends wherever she is. That'd be silly. Maybe lonely is the wrong word. Homesick? That sounds about right. So I thought that maybe it would be nice for us to let Twilight know that we haven't forgotten about her. Spike tried to follow Pinkie Pie's rambling, but he was quite certain he would be breathing literal fire from that cupcake she had given him. Being a fire-breathing dragon made him naturally resistant to heat and spicy foods, but whatever Pinkie had given him felt like he'd bitten off a piece of the sun. So, that got me thinking. How can we let Twilight know that we're still thinking about her? Then it hit me. A package. Ditzy was flying overhead while I was daydreaming and dumped her mail bags all over. Then I realized we could send her letters. But we can't use the regular mail. Ditzy's good, but I don't think she's that good. Then I remembered that we have a super special magic dragon who can send letters directly to ponies. You want me to try and Dragon Fire a letter to her? Spike said as soon as he had recovered enough feeling in his mouth and tongue to speak. Well, now I feel dumb for not thinking of that earlier. But you heard from Princess Luna, she isn't anywhere in Equestria and I don't know if I can send messages further than that. That's why I sent a letter to Princess Luna asking for her help. The response should be coming right about. Verb. Now. A letter conjured itself from the dragon flame Spike emitted, and it fell to the floor in front of him. He picked it up cautiously but stopped when he read the seal. Do not open until the elements are present. And just as he finished the sentence, a knock came from the door. Girls? So glad you could make it. Pinkie squealed as she threw the door open and invited more visitors inside. Applejack, Rarity, Fluttershy, and Rainbow Dash all walked in with already written letters in tow. Hey, well that's rather good timing, Pinkie. Spike said slowly as he broke the seal on Luna's letter and began to read to the assembled ponies. To my faithful friend Spike. Pinkie Pie contacted me regarding the possibility of using your Dragon Fire to send a message to Twilight, wherever she may be. As you are no doubt more aware than any of us, your Dragon Fire isn't limited in the same manner as our magics. Your Dragon Fire sends messages not through mundane magical means that are limited by manipulation of the field and the abilities of the caster, but purely through your familiarity with the destination and its recipient. Because of this I feel that Pinkie Pie's idea holds a great deal of merit. While the elements and I are close friends to Twilight, she is like a sister to you, and if any dragon could send the messages successfully, then it would be you. I am also making all necessary preparations to aid you, with the elements' help. I've attached a teleportation enchantment to this letter, and by the time you finish reading it you will all be in my observatory in Canterlot. Spike stopped reading the letter at that point to look up, and Ponyville was gone. The little librarian and the elements now found themselves on a vast balcony overlooking Canterlot and the crystal clear night sky directly above them. Princess Luna was also on the balcony, as were Shining Armor and Cadance. The latter too smiled and waved, but Luna kept her emerald eyes on the sky above her. I am glad you all could gather on such short notice, Luna stated warmly, though it was a little disconcerting that she didn't make eye contact to greet them. I feel that Pinkie Pie's plan has merit, and it may hasten our discovery of Twilight if I can follow where the letters travel." Several cheers came from the elements, and Luna waited for them to die down before she continued. "I cannot guarantee it will be successful, but I will try. And I know that Pinkie Pie's original plan included your letters, but I felt it would be wise to inform Shining Armor of the attempt. Both he and Cadance have prepared a letter. Celestia and I have letters as well." Shining Armor levitated a scroll wrapped with a ribbon and clipped tight with a crystal heart seal, while Luna levitated a pair of letters clipped with solar and lunar seals respectively. The trio of letters floated over to Spike, while the elements approached to give him their letters as well. "Wait!" Spike cried as he looked to each of the ponies in the room. I don't have a letter. I don't have quills or paper. Can I?" Before he could even finish the question, Pinkie Pie somehow produced all the necessary writing tools from her curly mane, including an inkwell that somehow didn't dye her mane black in the process. Spike nodded his thanks and began to write. Several minutes passed as he scratched out the message he wanted to share with Twilight before rolling it up and adding it to the stack of letters the others had already written. "Prepare yourselves," Luna stated simply, and she brought her back hoof to clop down on the stone balcony. Instantly lines began to carve themselves into the stone. The lines resolved into a massive circle with several circles around its perimeter and one in the center. Symbols became apparent in each of the circles, and it became readily apparent that each one corresponded to the ponies assembled. The stone under Luna's hooves took the shape of the crescent moon. The next 5 circles showed balloons, butterflies, diamonds, apples, and Rainbow Dash's lightning bolt. The last 2 spots were emblazoned with Shining Armor's sparkle shield and Cadance's crystal heart. The circle in the center displayed a stylized flame. Each of the assembled ponies took their spots around the perimeter of the array, while Spike carried the letters to the center. "This array will focus all of your memories to assist Spike. I need each and every one of you to close your eyes and remember Twilight. Remember your most cherished memory of her. Hold on to that memory as tightly as you can," Luna instructed, and all save the princess closed their eyes. Spike closed his eyes as well and tried to dredge up his favorite memory of Twilight. Thousands of memories and moments came to him, little things and big victories for the pair and all the days of hard work at the library. "I can't choose just one memory, they're all my favorites." So he held on to each and every one and took a deep breath, and blew.